Okay, for now we are going to be cutting the down part of our skirt, and I'll be showing you how I fold the skirt. So for this down part, we will be dealing with circles. So this material is 2 yards. This is my 2 yards of my doll satin. Now this side is the 2 yards. This is the width, and this width is 2 yards. Now this side is the length. This length is by 60. So because I am dealing with a small child, I'm going to be using the length to fold it. And for this particular ball gown, we are going with a half circle. We are not going with a full circle. We are going with a half circle. And the formula to find a half circle is your waist divided by 3.14. So now, how do you know the amount of fabric to use? How will you know that this is the length and the width of fabric to fold to be able to remove your full circle or your half circle? Now, if we look at the measurements we were using, I hope this is visible. If we look at the measurements we were using, this is the waist. We are still talking of a 5-year-old child. Now, the length of the gown is 27. So this 27, I removed the top, with the shoulder to waist is 11. So the full length is 27. So I removed the top, which is 11, from this 27. So 27 minus 11, what we have is 16. 16 will now be the length of our circle skirt. The length that we are going to cut to fit into the top to still make 27. So for you to know the amount of fabric to use, you are going to calculate your radius. The radius is the waist, the circumference around the waist. So we don't know the radius, so we want to calculate the radius. So how do we calculate that? Your waist measurement, which is 24, you will add your sewing allowance. At my sewing allowance, I added 1.5, which is 1.5 inch. I added 1.5 inch to 24, and it gave me 25.5. I now divided this by 3.14 to get 8. So for you to know the length of the fabric, the radius that you have gotten, which is 8, we are going to add it to the skirt length, which is 16. So 16, you will be using your calculator. 16 plus 8 is 24. So I've calculated 16 plus 8 is 24. So we are going to check the length of what we are making to be 24. So let's do the folding. Like I told you, I will be using the length, this side that is by 60, because I am cutting a half circle and I want to manage my fabric. So this is the side that is by 60. This is the side that is by 60. That is the 2 yards that way. This is by 60. I'm going to fold it. I'm going to be folding it. This is how I have folded it into 2. So for you to check whether will this length be enough for me to cut the down part of this skirt, the length we are looking for is 16. Let me bring it close. 16 is the skirt length plus the radius. The formula you use to calculate the radius. Now the answer, you after calculating the radius we got a radius of 8. Now 8 plus 16 gives me 24. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get 24 all round. So from here to here is 24. That means this length is going to be enough. Supposing this length wasn't up to 24, I would have turned the other side. But since it's up to 24, I'm going to use this length, and it will help me to manage my fabric. That is how you check to see, then know the amount of fabric they're going to use. Now this 24, we are going to fold it. Because it's a half circle, we are going to fold it this way. So I will now be turning it around. I hope you understand. Let me do it again. This is the length of, supposing we were cutting out a full flare, I would have used the other side, but this is a half circle and I'm trying to manage my fabric. In as much as you sew, you still manage your fabric. So this is the side that we call by 60. I am folding on the side we call by 60, not the 2 yards that way. So this is the by 60. I have folded it. I have folded it into 2. Then I did my calculation to know the amount of fabric, whether this length is going to be enough. After calculating it, I will now fold it like this. I hope you understand. I will now take it like this. Why? Because it is a half circle. So I'm going to turn it around. Let me be turning it so that you see. I'm just turning it around so that you don't get confused. Now look at the excess I have. So we are going to be inserting our radius. We will insert our radius and we will cut out the skirt. Our radius, we got our radius as 8. I will be pinning this down to stay one place because the table is slippery and the fabric is also slippery. So I'm holding here so that I will get my accurate measurement. So we calculated our radius as 8. How did we arrive at the radius? We calculated the waist circumference, which is 24. We added 1.5 inches allowance to 24, and the answer is 25.5 inches. Now, this 25.5 inches, you are going to divide it by 3.14. 3.14 is the formula to finding half circle. It is constant. It does not change, whether for adults, whether for children. You are still going to divide it by 3.14. So when we divided 25.5 by 3.14, we got the radius as 8. Now, this radius we got, we use the formula to get this radius. You are going to take this radius and add it to the length of the skirt to help you know the length you will be needing and the amount of fabric you will be needing. So when we added the 8 inches radius to the skirt length, we got 24. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to insert your radius. So to help me, I always do this to help me get my exact measurement. This is the radius. The radius is 8. I'm trying to get to the top. So we will be marking 8 inches all through. This is 8. This is 8. We are going to mark we have gotten our radius. Now the skirt length is 16. So we are going to now add the skirt length, which is 16. To make it easier for me, I have already added my 8 inches radius to my 16 inches skirt, and that gave me 24. So what I will do is I will just put my tape at the top here and I will measure 24 all through. And so the skirt length is 16 and the radius is 8. So there are times you want to be sure of what you have calculated. You can still take your tape like this and put it around just to check and see if your measurements are correct. And here I got 6.75. You can still check it out for a confirmation. Let's do the calculator together. I'm using my phone to calculate. 6.75 times 4, I got 27. To tell you that I've already have excess. When after getting this measurement, you are going to add your sewing allowance. You are going to add your sewing allowance up, or you don't want your skirt to become wider. So we are going to add ½ inch sewing allowance, which is 0.5. You come up by ½ inch. That is your ½ inch sewing allowance. So this is how to calculate the circumference of a half circle. Now we are going to be cutting this pattern out. We'll have to keep a heavy weight stone or something to keep the fabric in place. This is for people who are using electric scissors. So I'm going to be putting this thing here to hold this bottle of water, to hold this thing for me while, just to add weight to it while I cut. remove the waist, and I will also be cutting the down part. I just hope you can see. Let me see if you can see what I'm doing very well, just to add weight to the cutting. So I am done with my half circle